Hey folks, today's episode is sponsored by CarParts.com. CarParts.com is the smarter way to shop for auto parts. Their fast, mobile-friendly experience makes it easy to shop for the parts you need when you need them. Just enter the year, make, and model of your vehicle, start shopping, and start saving. It's that simple.
They contacted me to see if I wanted some parts for my M3, and it was really great because my taillights were looking a little cracked and old, the reverse lights the same thing, and I didn't have a cup holder in the middle of the car, and that was a big problem for a couple of years. It was easy to find the parts that fit, they showed up really quickly, and everything went in with a snap.
Yeah, between the no cup holder, no radio, and no taillights, you really had a luxury vehicle there for a while.
It was a performance vehicle. It was a track car that
super
hadn't gone
Leggera.
track yet. Exactly. It was Super Leggera RS.
CarParts.com stocks their own inventory, cutting out the middleman and passing the savings on to you. Whether you've been in a collision, you're working on your project car, or you just need to catch up on maintenance, visit CarParts.com/thesmokingtire for 10% off of $100 or more on select brands. Get the right parts right now at CarParts.com/thesmokingtire. We're also brought to you today by the Blackview DR750X 3-channel plus dash cam. Having one camera is good to protect your vehicle. Having two cameras is better to protect your vehicle. But what about three? We are now on the razor blade model, where more is just better. 3 cameras protecting your vehicle. Blackview's first triple-channel dash cam lets you keep an eye on the front, the rear, and the inside of your vehicle at all times for complete peace of mind. The Blackview DR750X 3-channel plus simultaneously records the front, rear, and interior of your vehicle. Each of the cameras is equipped with a Sony CMOS sensor. The interior camera connects to the main and front camera via micro USB. And the triple channel model also includes a GPS logger, built-in Wi-Fi, cloud connectivity, and built-in voltage monitoring for parking mode. Here is why you want built-in voltage monitoring. One of my customers here at WCCS has a very, very expensive luxury car, and they installed a substandard dash cam. They then left it running, and it killed the battery. Now, the battery, because this vehicle is a lithium-ion battery, it combined with a mild hybrid system, will cost $2,700 to replace. That's why you want voltage monitoring like the DR750X dash cam has. It comes with the free Blackview app, which allows you to connect your dash cam directly or over the cloud, get impact notifications, download videos to your mobile, watch live view, and more. Moreover, Blackview's seamless pairing feature makes connecting to your dash cam incredibly easy. When hardwired, the Blackview DR750X 3-channel automatically switches to parking mode to monitor your parked vehicle. Thanks to the video buffer, the few seconds leading to triggering events are also recorded. Oh man, I love this dash cam. It feels really high quality in your hands. It hides behind the mirror. It's a seamless install. You don't really even notice it's there, but it is always watching not just your vehicle, but the road outside. Get yourself some craziness on the road and get YouTube famous. So get one for yourself. Go to blackview.com/TST. That's BLACKVUE. Blackview.com/TST, and then use promo code TIRE to get 10% off any Blackview dash cam. Free shipping for orders over $200. That's pretty much everything on their website. Their cameras cost more than $200, so you get free shipping at blackview.com/TST with promo code TIRE. We got Butcherbox on the menu today. I love me some Butcherbox. Who doesn't love a big box of meat showing up at their house? Well, vegans. Vegans probably wouldn't like that. It would probably be considered a microaggression here in LA if you were to send Butcherbox to a vegan. But if you're sending it to someone not a vegan, or if you yourself are not a vegan, damn is Butcherbox where it's at. It's a subscription service that takes the guesswork out of finding high quality meats. ButcherBox sources their meat from partners with the highest standards for quality. No more searching the grocery store for 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, wild-caught seafood, and more. Their sourcing decisions are made holistically, keeping the farmer, the planet, the animal, and your family in mind. I love me. I've just become, recently, a fan of ribeye. I think I just didn't know how to cook it right. Normally, like, you just do them in the pan, like a New York strip or a filet, pan to oven. That's the move. The ribeye requires a little bit more finesse. Like now I like the reverse sear for the ribeye because it draws out some of the moisture, gives it a little more of that nutty flavor that I like from a dry aged cut. But I'm a recent ribeye convert, and I have switched really from the sous vide to the reverse sear, which I think is equally equally difficult to mess up. Like the sous vide, you can't mess up. Hard to mess up a reverse sear also, but it's like fake dry aging. But the taste is the same as if you actually dried it. It's like 90% of the way to proper dry aging. And ButcherBox sends you all different cuts. Like you can choose what you're into. They've got a whole bunch of variety. They've got curated boxes, or you can get your own custom box. And their meat is super high quality, no antibiotics or added hormones. Every box contains between 8 and 14 pounds of meat, depending on the box, enough for 24 individual meals. It's packed fresh and shipped frozen for convenience, saving you time on your next grocery store trip. And delightful meats. This is your chance to never have to shop for ground beef again. I said that right. Never shop for ground beef again. That's right. ButcherBox is giving new members free ground beef for life. Free ground beef for life. I'm guessing there's probably a restriction or two, and they won't just like on OD drop ship beef to you forever for life. So you check the restrictions on the website. Some I'm sure will apply. But if you go to butcherbox.com/tire, here's the restriction. Get 2 pounds of ground beef for free in every order for the life of your membership. So as long as you're a member, as long as you're getting meats, bonus 2 pounds of ground beef free in every order for the life of your membership. Butcherbox.com/tire. That's an awesome deal. That's like 4 healthy burgers for free every month. And I'm not trying to say burgers are healthy. 4 healthy sized burgers. 4 plentiful burgers. You
can make delicious tacos with
4
that.
HPs.
Bolognese.
You could do a bolognese. You could make my ragu recipe that I posted on Instagram like a year and a half ago. You could go back and make that with free meats that you've gotten from ButcherBox. Lastly, we're also brought to you by Valvoline, of course, the original motor oil. Valvoline is America's first motor oil brand. They've been rocking it for 150 years, innovating, creating, and reinventing motor oil. From the first high mileage to the first synthetic blend, the first racing oil, they've never stopped pursuing innovation to maximize engine life. And their latest innovation, extended protection full synthetic motor oil, provides 50% better wear protection than industry standards and is 10 times stronger against oil breakdown. They've got that dual defense additive technology, combining an innovative additive boosted with a fortified detergent system. And you might not think you're a severe driver, but chances are, at least some of the time, you are. Could be short trips, could be towing, could be extreme hot or cold. You could have a turbocharged engine. You could be mobbing the canyons, or you could be driving with a heavy load like a fully loaded van or SUV. That is severe driving. And Valvoline has got you covered. They have a dedicated engine lab where they can run specialized engine tests. They are the world's #1 supplier of EV battery fluids. And I had to figure out what an EV battery fluid was. It's basically coolant.
Yeah.
It's for the EV, the cooling packs. It's not the liquid inside a battery cell.
There's a secret gasoline engine inside
There's motor oil in the batteries. No, it's basically coolant for EVs. And Valvoline is proud to be the official motor oil of Hendrick Motorsports. This year, Valvoline driver Kyle Larson was crowned the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series regular season champion with 9 wins and 2,000 laps led. So head over to your local auto parts store and ask for Valvoline Extended Protection Full Synthetic Motor Oil by name, or whatever Valvoline product works best with your automobile. All right, folks, on this episode of the show, Larry Chen is in the studio. Larry is our favorite motorsports and action sports photographer working today. He is a Canon ambassador and gets to play with all the newest Canon equipment. He has dope cars in his collection, has built himself a huge home shop where he can work on and build his own stuff, and he's just the nicest person in the game and one of the hardest workers you will ever meet. He always has interesting things to say about the evolution of photography, and you can buy his prints for a very affordable rate on his website, which we will link in the description. Definitely support Larry by buying one of his prints because he's got a big printer. He can make the prints at home. It rules. Larry Chen is on the Smoking Tire podcast.
That is.
These are fun.
That's my Hot Wheels.
I like your pin. I have your other pins in my backpack.
Yeah, so
This is the new one.
That is the newest one that just got released yesterday.
Sweet, with the cameras on the hood.
Yep.
That's actually very fun. You see this one?
Yeah, it's rad.
The one I have.
Zach's ridden with me in that car.
The one I have has the camera crane on the roof. It was the Corolla with the crane on the roof.
It's funny that you wear that on your backpack because that one has gone. I've seen.
No, they're worth a lot of money.
Yeah, they're worth a lot. So the set, my old 240Z set, plus that. I've seen it sold for $1,200.
Yeah, like I have some from, remember my Safari 911, and I got 150 of them because that's like the quantity that you order.
Yeah.
And I think it cost me $350 or $450 to get 150 of these things. And I literally gave every single one of them away at Luft within about 10 minutes. And then I found out these are $800 each. I literally I gave out like a car worth of these things.
Yeah.
But I was just cleaning out my closet, just like Eminem does. Just like Eminem does. And I found 4. I have 4 of the Safari ones remaining, and I stuck all of them on one piece of cardboard. But yes, I walk around with my backpack with these stuck into them like a baller.
Yeah, that is some flex.
Yeah, kind of. It's like the equivalent of wearing using your nice things. I ain't scared.
No.
Thank you for this one. This one's going right on the backpack for Zach and I's trip next week.
These are fun because essentially I feel like they kind of have the same essence as something like a Hot Wheels. But the cool thing is they're so, I guess, accessible.
Yeah.
Right? So someone like you or I could make it super easy. And Hansel at Lean's Customs, he does a really good job with our work and everything, all that. And it's just a new way to enjoy cars.
Yeah. I feel bad because I kind of got mad at the Lean Customs guy. I didn't really read the fine print. And I should have, and I didn't. Because when I didn't realize is when I bought a bulk of these things, that he then makes more and sells them on his website. So I found him selling them, and I was like, "Hey, man, what the fuck? I thought I bought these." And then he was like, sent me the contract again, and it said that he has the right to make more and sell them. And I was like, "Oh shit, my bad. You're right." I felt kind of bad. So if you're out there, Lean Customs guy, I'm sorry. I got mad at you. I didn't read the fine print, and I should have. But they are like someone like you or me or Magnus or anybody could send over a photo of a car and have it turned into a pin like this. It's something you can't do with a Hot Wheels.
No, you can't. And that's really the thing, right? Every car guy, if they customize their car to a certain point, they want it to live on forever in that form, in Hot Wheels or whatever.
And it's not expensive. It's like a few $100s gets you like a bunch of these pins. It's not particularly expensive.
Yeah. But my Hot Wheels set, so a lot has happened since I was on the show last, right? On the show, last time I was here, I had a chance to shoot the Z Proto for the first time, which is the new Z, and we actually released the photos or that set on the show for the first time.
Yeah, it was like that
ever.
day, right? Yeah. Still no one's driven that thing.
Right.
We're still waiting to drive that thing.
I haven't
like
even
2
driven
in the
it.
country, I think. The supply chain meant that press cars got really delayed and stuff, and so it was like that one car was very busy, I heard.
Yeah. So, I've photographed the cars that they do have. We photographed, of course, the Proto, which is prototype, and it was like the whole car show one where the door handles don't work. You can plug it in to a wall socket if you need to keep the lights on, stuff like that. And for the actual release photos of that vehicle when they were closer to production. They have 2 of those, and we've just been shooting those. I had a chance to shoot the release photos here in Los Angeles, actually on a LAPD helipad.
That's cool.
So that was super cool. And I just never thought as a car enthusiast, as a Z enthusiast, I would ever be able to have that honor, to really show the world what I think this car should look like through my lens.
It's a very it's a deep way of thinking about it. I would I don't know, maybe it's because I've been around so many cars at this point that I might not look that deep into it, but I'm glad that you do because you're the one taking the pictures.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? So
I feel that way when I drive some super early pre-production thing that that seems cool. I imagine because you're also a pretty diehard Z person that it's cool to be in that sort of access.
Yeah, I just never really thought that a manufacturer. I mean, growing up as a car enthusiast in Southern California, enjoying my Z, driving it on track, all that, I don't even think about that. You just don't think that could even be a possibility to have that kind of honor, that responsibility. With that said, I was happy to do it. And then on top of that, we had a chance to shoot the production versions of the vehicles at Times Square for the launch, which was something else. It was just one of those things where a lot of the comments that people say, when you play video games right now, when you play these simulation games, you can actually take pictures.
Yeah.
You could put any car in Times Square, or you could take cars and put them in these dream locations. And I think one of the comments was like, "Well, we get to do it in video games, but Larry's doing it in real life." Which,
or like the when they shot on an aircraft carrier, stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's what getting permits for stuff like that is pretty cool.
That's kind of what I really pride myself in, because it's probably pretty easy to do some photoshopping to get it there, right? Or you can even do like a I don't know, digital render of these cars in Times Square, but to actually drive them, do rolling shots, and have them in the middle of the night, and they're just sitting there, and people are walking by, it's something else. And the thing is, I've shot in Times Square before many years ago, and I stole the shoot. It was Von Gittin Jr.'s Mustang, and he's like, "Hey, Larry, just take it and just get some nice shots of it." I'm like, on the East Coast, I'm in New York. I figured, you know what? Might as well go to Times Square and try to see what I can get. So I just had my buddy do laps and, park in the red for 2 seconds before some cop.
It works.
Yeah. So we did what we could, but to actually have it as a location was definitely an honor.
In 2005, when me and Larry Casilla were doing New York Motor Club, where those Zs are parked, we did that. We parked 10 cars on there. No permit. We just drove the cars up on there. And we were like, well, if they kick us out, they kick us out. But the cops thought it was funny, and they didn't kick us out. And they just left us there for a while. It's not fully closed to cars now, is it?
So I think that
it wasn't
area,
at the time, yeah.
So it used to be 2 lanes where you could, it's not a one-way street, but now where we were parked, it was a one-way street, and you actually have to put these poles down to actually pull up.
Oh, yeah,
onto
yeah.
them. So they have to have a key to open it.
Yeah, at the time it wasn't. It was just an island in the middle of the road. But we drove 10 cars and parked them on there, and it was no one actually said anything. It was okay.
Yeah, because
shocked.
I think that same area they do yoga. In the middle of the night.
There's an F-45 out there, outdoor,
right.
Yeah. The shots look great. Did you have to Photoshop out the fences in the back there?
So that was one location, and then as you can see in the video that I posted on my Instagram, we were able to move them around, and we were able to move them to areas where there weren't any fences. We initially started having fences just because it was so crowded, even though it was late at night. We didn't want people to go up to the cars, open the doors, and mess with them. And since they just got released, they're pretty. They have a lot of life left in terms of all the shows that they have to go to. So we just wanted to make sure they didn't get damaged.
When do we get to drive these things?
No idea. Probably, I don't know, this year.
It's going to be. I think
sometime between now and 2023.
But these are pre-productions, but they're production looking and driving and running and operational cars?
They are as close to production as possible. And with the Proto, there was a lot of things I had to watch out for, a lot of things that I couldn't really focus in on. Some things were 3D printed, and some things were just put together. But these vehicles were, in terms of textures and everything, as close to production as possible.
It's a nice looking car. The back end I like better than the front. The front doesn't look all that much different than the 370 and 350 to me.
I like the fact that something like this can exist now. You know, how long is it going to be until it's all new electric vehicles?
True. Yeah. Or just manual sports cars in general.
Yeah. I mean, all stick shift, sports cars are good. I hope that we don't get lazy because of that. Like, we just drove the new WRX, and stick shift WRX is good, but like the stick sucks. Like, it's just not good. Like, in the grand scheme of manual cars, like, this is not a good one.
Right.
And so, like, I hope that they're not like taking that attitude of like, be happy we're doing it at all, and as opposed to
like BMW for a long time.
Like BMW and their shifters now, or like as opposed to like Honda, which is like, if we're gonna make a manual, this shifter will be amazing.
Yeah.
Or
it will
Porsche.
be an experience.
Yeah, it'll be an engaging thing to use. Like the new WRX, I thought at any moment I could rip the shifter right out of the console. It was flimsy feeling and not so great. And we learned in this video that if you put a negative video title, you will get an excellent click-through rate. If you crap on the car in the title, people will click on that shit.
And I heard you have been talking about it more recently on your shows in terms of like the almighty YouTube algorithm, the fact that we have to like modify what we do and what we show, what we report on to get more views. It is pretty. It sucks. So recently,
you changed the name of your show.
Yeah. So
from
recently,
autofocus to just Larry Chen.
Yeah. So recently, I purchased the Hoonigan autofocus channel. So now it's become my channel. It's the Larry Chen channel.
Is it because why did you change the name? Just because you're nothing more valuable than your own name?
Well, no. So Hoonigan, since they had a merger recently with Wheel Pros, which is probably the biggest wheel manufacturer in the world, they're changing the direction of how their shows are rolling out, or I guess the amount of shows and the quality of the shows, all of that. They just want to change it up. And, rightfully so, it's their thing. So one of the channels on their network was the autofocus channel. And, I featured a couple of your vehicles on there. We had a couple nice episodes. And actually, the last episode we did with you was a tour on this facility. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it did pretty well. Yeah, I think it did pretty well. I don't know how many views we got, but...
Well, we're full, so I'll take all of them. Whatever it was, it works.
Yeah. But anyways, it was a fun exercise. It was something that we enjoyed doing, and we didn't do it for any reason. We didn't do it to get views. We didn't do it to make money because, as you know, it's very hard to make money on YouTube.
It's so funny. I'm just looking at your video list, and I could see, like, if you keep it in the zone, you kill it. Like, keeping full dry carbon Nissan R32 GTR, 213,000 views. Next video, plane-to-plane action with Tanner Faust, 10,000 views.
I know.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. If you keep it in the fucking pocket, the fans are so programmed to want this one thing from you.
I don't want to do that.
I know. Doesn't that suck when you're a fucking artist?
The thing is, I want to shoot anything and everything. Yeah. I want to do plane to plane, helicopter to helicopter. I want to
Larry, you will
racing.
only shoot Nissans.
Yeah.
Your job.
Apparently, look at the last couple of videos. The dry carbon R32,
Nissan.
213. Yeah. And then you got the R31, 275.
Yeah.
And you got a dry carbon Supra,
dude, even if you have like this nice E30, it's like your Nissan and your Japanese car content is just so much. It's like triple, if not more, the views.
It's sad.
It's so crazy.
But
getting pigeonholed sucks ass, doesn't it?
It does suck. But with a lot of these videos that we come out with that don't get the most amount of views, I find that it's still the right views. If you're really a fan and you really like what we do, or you really like seeing the features or the cars that we feature, then you'll watch pretty much anything. And I meet those people on a daily basis, and it makes me feel so good when they tell me things, recite the show or tell me things that they liked specifically. And I just think to myself, especially if it's someone in the industry, I think, wow, these really are the right views. Like, for example, a good example actually was when I was on that press drive with you, Zach, when we were hanging out with the Toyota guys. I could not believe how many of the people within Toyota, they were just telling me, oh, this episode was good. This episode was awesome. And it just blew my mind. It's like, why would they even watch him? Well, I mean, I guess it's, like I said, it's the right views.
Yeah. That happened with Seinfeld when he was like, I love your videos. I was like, you don't watch my videos. He's like, yeah, I love that blue notebook you carry in the cars. I was like, what the fuck? This is so weird. It was really strange. Yeah. But it's too bad because, when you're working in economies of scale, even if 5 people a day came up to you and said you loved your videos, which would make you feel pretty good. I mean, it would make me feel pretty good. It's still like you need not just tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands or more to actually, earn a living. It's the anecdotal versus the data. It's tough.
Well, I think it's like, but if you, Larry, don't need to turn this channel into like either profitable or super profitable, then you have that great freedom to like film whatever you want, do a plane, do a truck, do whatever, because then you're still just capturing the breadth of motorsport and automobiles, which is what you do professionally. And I think that is awesome if you can do that.
Exactly. So I decided to purchase the channel because I didn't want it to die, and also I didn't want to start over from zero.
Yeah.
We already built up a pretty good subscriber count, 375,
yeah.
right?
Go subscribe.
Yeah.
Larry Chen. Is it youtube.com/Larry Chen?
Yeah, I think it's channel, right? It's youtube.com/Larry
Chen Photo?
Yeah, Larry Chen Photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I just figured, you know what? Let's just keep doing this because nobody else is doing this.
Did you try to keep the autofocus name, or did you care?
I was thinking about keeping the autofocus name or maybe changing it up a little bit, but Brian Scotto actually brought up a good point. He's like, look at all the other big YouTube guys. Look at all their channels. A lot of them have their name as the channel. Adam LZ, Cletus, I know his name is Garrett, but there's a personality. There's a certain thing there, right?
Autofocus is also a tough word because it's a very good, it's a very good creative word in terms of like, okay, if someone tells you I've got a car YouTube channel about car photography and it's called autofocus, you go, wow, that's a great name. But when you're searching for if the search term autofocus gives you a whole bunch of camera shit.
Yeah.
That's the problem with that name. As good and creative as it is, it also means something else that if you type it in a search bar, it might misdirect.
If you're a Scottish tailor and your company is Plaid, you're fucked right now because every result is about a Tesla.
Yeah. So that's a good point, and I just figured people that watch the channel, I've hosted pretty much every single show on this channel. My partner Lewis has done like 5. But out of that, I was actually surprised that we didn't lose any subscribers. In fact, we gained a lot of subscribers when we did the channel name change. Nothing has changed, honestly. It's going to be the same content, and it's going to be even better because unfortunately, when we were doing stuff with Hoonigan, there was a lot of things we just can't conflict with a lot of things that Hoonigan does, and we just didn't have the freedom to shoot anything and everything. We also wanted to make sure that we are in line with all of their content, which is fine.
Yeah.
I
love
that's
what happens when you're under an umbrella.
I love working with the guys. I still work with them. A lot of people are like, oh my God, Larry's leaving Hoonigan. No, it's actually the complete opposite. I'm doing more than ever for them. We're shooting the this versus that series for them all the time on the still side. Anytime they have commercial photography or any big gymkhana or whatever type of shoots, we're there. We're the stills support for that. And so I'm looking forward to that. But with that said, I'm excited about the channel. It's going to be a lot of fun this year. We're just going to do so much good stuff. And also, on top of that, I can talk about my own builds and my own cars on that channel now.
Oh, which you couldn't before?
Well, yeah, because they had a build channel.
Oh.
So if I were to do a build, which I did with Hoonigan, it would actually not be on my channel. It would be on the build channel. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but so many things since I last saw you. But we've seen each other a couple times at the Velocity event, and of course your birthday party, which was a lot of fun.
That was fun. Glad you could make it.
But yeah, I brought you a couple gifts. Got the Lean Customs pin.
How'd the Hot Wheels thing happen?
My
That's
Hot
pretty
Wheels.
cool.
This is really a rite of passage, for any really big car nerd. This is it means so much to me as a photographer because since 1968, I was telling Zach this before we started rolling. Since 1968, Hot Wheels has never ever used photos for their backing card. It's always been an illustration.
Oh, well,
think
that's
about it. Have you seen a photo on a Hot Wheels package?
Now that you mention it, I don't think I have.
Yeah,
about
so
that?
I don't know what it is. It's a rights thing or maybe whatever. But Hot Wheels reached out to me and they're like, hey, we want to do like a 2-pack set with you and we want you to promote it, do all these videos, all that stuff. I looked at the original artwork. I looked at what they were doing and I was thinking to myself, yeah, it's pretty cool, but what if can you actually publish the photos or use my photos on the packaging? They, for whatever reason, nobody's ever asked. So they went, asked their higher ups, and they came back to me and they're like, yeah, we can do it. Send us some photos that you think you want to use for this packaging. They chose these. So of the HKS Group A R32 GTR, I shot that photo at the base of Mount Fuji at HKS in the beginning of 2020. And then of my personal car, I shot that in Azusa Canyon.
It's over the top of the 39.
Exactly.
It's a good wall. I like that wall.
Yeah,
I know that
we
wall.
shoot there all the time.
Yeah.
So it was just so weird that nobody's asked this before, but maybe they've never done a photographer's
Maybe they've never done
car.
a photographer's car. Yeah, I mean that they're probably the legal team is probably concerned about rights and royalties and stuff like that. And if it was anyone else and they said, well, now we've got to clear it with the photographer and pay them a royalty, it probably is a headache they just don't need. But when you can go, just here, sign paper rights,
exactly.
no problem.
So that came
great.
out really good, and I was just very excited. It's such a weird thing that you can go to any Target store in the U.S. It's like, whatever, I don't know, 4,000 Target stores in the U.S. I don't even know how many.
Did they tell you how many of these they made?
I don't know. But
Is that a thing they keep secret?
It seems like most of them are sold out, and a lot of them are on eBay.
Oh, really?
Just resellers.
What's the
just
flip?
snatched
What's
them
the
up.
flip like on eBay?
I don't even know.
They just popped up at like $45 on eBay.
$45 on eBay. Wow.
So it's a $12 kit. So some people are making money on it.
GT3's got nothing on you, homie. That's a nice little flip. How about the Larry Chen Lean Customs Supra pin?
Well, that got released yesterday.
Oh, really?
So there's none out there.
So I got to hit the fucking bay.
You got to put that up now.
No way. This is going in the backpack. Well, your other one I just noticed is stuck in our acoustic foam right there.
Oh.
You see that?
That? Oh,
Yeah.
I think that's yours. That's a 996.
Oh, no. You know who that is? That's the dude who's
996,
camp
the road trip?
Yeah, that's his.
yeah.
Sorry.
But if anybody doubts the fact that that's my car in there, you can actually look on the dash and there's a license plate. That's my license plate. It says "Wow, cool" on the dash. They couldn't put it in the back.
Wait, what? Where?
Yeah, on the dashboard, there's a little tiny license plate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like you have to look on the inside?
It's it's on the right side.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
on the
neat.
passenger side.
It's hard to see with
Yeah.
the packaging. Oh, yeah, no,
It says "Wow, cool."
Oh, cool. That rules.
It's actually my car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did it, because you got that car bar approved, right? That's a California car now,
This is
right?
a California car, and I actually, maybe like 6 months ago, I actually took it to a smog station for the first time.
How'd it go?
Nervous.
And they have never seen anything like it before. And there was a couple like menu options in terms of what you can choose to actually put it on the dyno or to put it on the roller. They didn't know what to choose. So I called Sean from Top Rank.
Yeah.
And I asked him, hey, what
do I
menus,
tell this guy?
what
Yeah.
menus does it need to be, to make it go through? And, Sean, he's so knowledgeable with these California cars. He's so knowledgeable with getting Nissan Skylines legalized. He just told me super quick. I told the guy, and it passed with flying colors.
Sweet.
And
we got a customer car here that just went through the whole thing. It was kind of a pain in the ass. There's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. But do you want to be always in that gray area, or?
It depends on your tolerance for risk, I guess. But like, I think it mattered more a few years ago when it was like that story about it being super heated. But I definitely think if you have that California tag, it's a source of pride, and you probably get your money back eventually.
I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to sell that
Well, maybe
car.
not the Royal U. I mean,
Yeah.
if people, according to Sean, people who spend the money to get a California license plate, that value of what you put into getting it done stays with the car when you go to sell it.
Oh yeah.
To me, it's I just wanted a time capsule. We never got this car in the U.S., and that's another reason why I think this Hot Wheels packaging or this set is so cool. The fact that you can go to any store in Middle America, they've never ever seen what a Skyline is. The fact that you can go into the store and get a model of a Skyline is so cool. It's so weird. But, I mean, that's just how car culture is now, right? So accessible, and people know what this is.
Well, since we grew up with the Skyline being the cheater car in the video game, that's where it really comes from.
Right.
They're not disappointing to drive either.
No, I know.
They drive fucking great.
I actually really like seeing
They're so
yours.
nice to drive.
Yeah.
That dude tried to sell me mine back.
You
for
didn't
like,
want it?
Not for 50% more than I sold it to him for. Hell no. I'll go get another one. I wasn't attached to that particular car. It was a very nice car, but I may end up trying to get a 34 like eventually, but they're so expensive.
That's the one to get. Yeah, I really like the way it looks. I don't really care about the performance aspect of it. I get it. You can do single turbo, you can make all this power, whatever. But you could do that with so many cars now.
Oh
right?
yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you could get even an A90 Super, right? It's so easy to make so much power on that. It's cheating. The fact that you can plug it in, 5 minutes later you have 60 extra wheel horsepower or more. But for me, it's just about the look. It's about the culture. It's about the feeling you get when you're driving it. It's just special.
For a 30-year-old car, it's a very refined. Not 30, but 25-year-old car. It's a very refined driving experience.
No.
It feels like that engine feels like it could be out of like a BMW 335 or something. It's very smooth. The power delivery is great. They're really well built, well made cars.
Yeah, it was like during that Japanese bubble economy, right? Where it's like they put so much money into this vehicle and so much technology, rear wheel steering. Just everything about it, the all-wheel drive system.
Yeah. I've had every awesome car from the late 80s. The Skyline is like the best made one by far, by a lot. It's like you understand why it was like banned from racing and all this stuff. And it's weird that they wouldn't, because it was such a good car, it's very strange that they wouldn't figure out a way to sell them in the U.S. Because it's not like the 300ZX and shit was like a cheap car to develop. I mean, that was a pretty high-quality item as well, but it's definitely not as good.
Well, they obviously fixed their mistake with R35. They're like, we're missing out on this.
20 years late.
Yeah. This other gift, I like giving you gifts.
Oh, you brought another giant print?
I
my
love
framer
giving you.
fucking loves
18
me.
feet long.
I'm putting my framer's kid through college.
I love
Larry, yeah.
my favorite thing that you said to me last time I came here was you gave me the most expensive gift, or you cost me the most, right? Or it was a gift that cost me the most.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah,
but
it looks great though.
It looks amazing.
It looks
and
really good.
I cannot refrain from taking pictures of that.
It looks
setup.
really good, and so many people fucking look at that now.
Well,
do you think you'll ever get to shoot on that corner ever again?
Maybe one of these days.
Because that corner was
hopefully.
destroyed in the fires, and from what I've heard from the sheriffs in that area, is that the people who live on that road are, quote, encouraging them to fix it last.
Yeah, we were probably one of the last shoots
I
there.
think so,
I mean,
yeah.
because if you remember when we shot your Countach there on that road, you could just, me and Vinny we were walking around, and you could literally just push the stop signs and the road signs, and they would fall over.
Yeah, it was barbecued up there. It was really bad. That trailer park was still smoking.
It was crazy, and also on top of that, all of the power lines were down there. Yeah.
I think they should honestly. Oh shit! This is a compilation poster. Whoa, that's so cool. Hey, you definitely cost me another $1,000 right now.
So this is
this
a print
rules
that I like to do
composite
for certain vehicles or certain stories. Essentially, it's the whole shoot in one picture.
Yeah, here I'm gonna hold it up to camera 5, Zach. Look at this. This is it's a whole composite.
The cool thing about this is you can take a magnifying glass and you can go up to every single picture and you can see, like for example on the tack, look at the detail that you can make out.
Yeah, I can read the mileage. Like this is your printer? Your house?
Yeah, so this is my
really nice fucking printer.
It's a Canon large format professional printer, and this is like on their museum.
This has really gotten these plotters have gotten good.
Yeah, they're really good. So this
is the widest you can print?
No, this is the small one. So I recently acquired their 5-foot printer.
Get out of here.
So I can print 5 foot by infinity. So 5 foot by 10 foot.
Yeah.
I could do squared 5 foot by 5 foot, 60 inches.
That's enormous.
At this quality, which to the point where you can use a magnifying glass and then read your tags, read all the little things you could see.
What's the resolution of this printer?
So this, I didn't even print this at the highest quality. This is just 300 DPI.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I can print. I can go up even more in quality, but at that point, it's really not discernible. You know, you already, if you put this up anywhere in your house or wherever, the fun thing is it takes a couple minutes to take it in. You know, you get really close to it. Far away, you can kind of see, okay, it's like a red car. It's a story of a red car. But when you get close to it is when you get to really see the details. And I try my best to lay it out in a way where two things aren't really touching each other, right? So like you have a detail shot next to an interior shot and then a wide shot.
Yeah.
And then I try to lay out in a way where you get a good snapshot of what the car offers, the textures, the feeling, the color, all of that, and kind of what we did that morning.
Yeah,
you know,
this is so great. Man.
Really good.
Thank you.
I didn't notice till you mentioned it, but there's no panel that like where the red panel meets another red panel.
Yeah, I
blur together. It's really great.
I love doing these. For whatever reason, I tried to sell them on my store, but I don't think it comes across very well.
Yeah,
you know, you can't really convey the feeling that you get from looking at this car. I mean, but then again, it's different also for you because this is your car.
Right. I can understand if I'm a random person who just likes your work and wants to buy something to hang on my wall, I'd probably be more interested than in a full car shot or maybe one detail. And this, it makes your eyes really like circle around like all over the place.
Yeah.
It's really, especially because it's my car, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, so sorry to all the audio only listeners.
No, it's okay.
Like
it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's
5,
36.
6. It's 36 shots.
Yeah.
It's probably was this 2 feet 24 inches?
Yeah, it's 2 feet by 3 feet.
by 3 feet.
Yeah,
and it really captures the richness of all the colors. With especially on matte paper and printing on a plotter in the past, you couldn't do it.
Yeah, so the other print that I gifted you, the 6-foot one, that was on like a semi-gloss, on a luster paper, which really allows for the color to show through and also the way the light hits it. It kind of gives it a little bit of a sheen. This is more for just maximum detail and for pixel detail.
But still, even the shiny stuff really does look shiny, even though it's a matte print. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you
really
like it.
Wild, thanks.
And I was able to pull a couple
My
photos.
framer loved me. I'm going to get this one framed too, for sure. Hell yeah, this one's going to go in the new house.
Yeah, like I was able to pull out a couple photos that haven't been published yet that you don't have yet. So just to kind of diversify it, you know?
The version of this one, which is great, with the burned trees behind, I only have on my iPhone.
Yeah, and then the doors open.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one's with the doors closed.
Yeah, I keep thinking that I miss this road which, I mean, this is the Snake on Mulholland. It's shut down after the fires in 2018. Hasn't been open since. I think they should reopen it as a cycling park and just let the cyclists have it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like, here's your road.
Yeah.
No cars, let cars park at the top or whatever, unload bikes, and then just let the cyclists have it. Because I don't really miss it anymore. You know what I mean? It's like out of sight, out of mind at this point.
It's a little dangerous,
It's
honestly.
not a great driving road at all.
It's not the best.
No, I think it's one of the worst.
The problem is it was just that, people would just stand there
It was the
and
scene.
record people going by and hope somebody would flip their car.
Which happened.
Yeah, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, and in these pictures, you could see like all the burned out houses, and especially that
This
photo.
one looks like the moon, where you
Yeah.
can really see the hillside that's toasted out.
Right.
That standing on that spot there was really, really wild. I was like, oh shit, this neighborhood's gone. They're finally starting to rebuild the stuff on the other side of the hill there. The permitting took years and years and years, but this is beautiful, Larry. Thank you very
well, I'm
much.
glad you like it.
I really appreciate your work, especially when my car is the subject of it.
Yeah, so with that said, we have to shoot more. I know you have that Ferrari, and I randomly...
Do you like shooting all black cars? Black cars are tough.
It's a challenge, and I like that challenge, especially if it's at night. We're really battling the reflections. We're really just trying to... It's essentially a giant mirror. That's what we're shooting with a black car. But it's fun. It's a good challenge, and I think I want to photograph that car just as a challenge because I recently moved to all mirrorless cameras. Like I'm out on DSLRs.
Really?
Yeah, and Canon just recently announced that the 1DX Mark III, which we helped launch, is their last digital SLR. Single lens reflex.
But you're now beyond that.
Yeah. So, and then this past year,
I'm gonna roll this up so I don't ruin it. Do we roll it out
Yeah,
or in?
I'll roll it.
You
up.
roll it.
Yeah. So this past year, we helped Canon launch their newest flagship camera, which is the Canon R3. And recently, I just picked up 3 more R3s. So total, we have 6 R3 cameras, and we're slowly phasing out all of our DSLR 1DX Mark III cameras.
And so what is better, newer about this R3? What's the story with this thing?
So have you been shooting with mirrorless cameras at all?
I mean, just a little point and shoot. Nothing, like literally nothing special at all. And matter of fact, it's time for me to get a new point and shoot because mine's about 3 years old.
So there hasn't been a really big technology jump over the past couple of years, right? So Canon traditionally, they come out with a new high-end, top-end camera every 4 years. And
whatever. Right?
Yes, and that has to do with the Olympics, right? So they always want to make sure they have the best action, best just photojournalism camera before the Summer Olympics.
Oh, that's
every
interesting.
single time.
I never put that together. That makes sense.
Yeah. So then, for example, the 1DX Mark III, they made sure that was available before Tokyo 2020, before it was supposed to be a thing.
A photo of the R3?
Yeah.
Canon
So
R3?
you can pull up the video that we did for Canon for the launch. So
I just want to see what it looks like. Oh, it looks like a DSLR.
yeah, it does. It looks like a DSLR, and if you just search Larry Chen.
Is it a YouTube
Canon,
video? Because
yeah,
we can't play YouTube videos,
All right,
unfortunately.
if you go to their website, then you can probably see
just play
a bunch of
some
if
part
you
about their website.
A lot of my photos are part of it. If you go down, maybe just scroll down, you can see some of the. Go up. Oh yeah, there are sample images.
Sample images.
Yeah, so like
there
you can see that's one of
Chen.
Von Gittin Jr.
Yeah, I see a
so-
Chen. Is that Faroe Islands?
Yes, that was on the Faroe Islands. So with this camera, Canon, they kind of broke, I guess, the tradition of every 4 years. We just launched 1DX Mark III 1 year ago in time for the 2020 Olympics. And then now 2021 comes around and they're like, hey, we're coming out with this new flagship camera. And it's all about technology. It's the biggest technology jump. And the thing about this camera is it is a cheater camera, especially with car photography, because there's a car mode.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It actually has a picture of a car.
Is it the mode where the car is in focus and the background is blurred? Is it like that?
No, it basically has like this AI that actually recognizes that you're photographing a car. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, it gets even deeper than that. So it recognizes if you're shooting a car, motorcycle, or open wheel race car. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can choose for it to focus on the driver of the open wheel race car or not. Or if you're photographing a motorcycle, you can choose for it to focus on the rider, or the nose of the vehicle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's that deep.
That's pretty crazy.
So essentially what it is it's just an easy way for the camera to keep up with action, right? To just retain focus. So it does 3 things. It does cars, vehicles, animals, and people. So those 3 subjects essentially kind of really encapsulate a lot of action.
Yeah, that's like
right?
the most action sports and whatever cover those. Yeah.
So with the car thing, it's just so crazy. Like I never really knew I needed something like this, you know? But sometimes these vehicles are moving so fast and we're in an angle, we're in a position where it's hard to achieve focus. You know, it could be in the worst lighting conditions, or it could be something where the headlights are blowing you out or whatever. But we took this camera and I took it to 6 different shoots, or 7 different shoots, sorry. I took it to Faroe Islands to shoot Hoonigan Jr., you know, in his electric Mach-E. I know you're a big Mach-E fan.
I am. I like my Mach-E.
Yeah. But
it's nothing to do with his.
Right, nothing. No, not at all. Yeah. But
I asked Jim Farley if I could drive his, and he was like, "You got to ask the Ford." That's it. You know, you know, you want things now, you have to go straight to the CEO on Twitter, right? That's what Elon Musk has taught us. Elon, my roof is leaking in my Tesla. Fix it. That's how you put in a service request at Tesla. And I just figured, what the fuck? Hey, Jim Farley, hook it up, bro. What do we got? And he basically said, I have to talk to Ford Performance. He responded, actually.
Yeah, they own it, I guess, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so you went to the Faroe Islands. You went to...
Yeah, so we shot so many things. I shot 120,000 photos.
Okay.
with 2 cameras to essentially really push them to their limits and see what they can do, right? So we took it to Formula Drift, we took it to Faroe Islands, we took it to NHRA drag racing. I shot motorcycles with Aprilia, actually, with it. We shot part of the Nissan Z launch. Yeah, we did so much with it just to kind of see what the difference would be and what the advantages would be. Another feature that is so insane with this camera is that you can have it. I actually should have brought one. I didn't even think about it. It follows your eye. Wherever you look is where it will focus.
You mean like through the fucking...
Yes.
Really?
Through the viewfinder. Yeah.
That's amazing and creepy.
Essentially now, when using this camera, as fast as you can think of a picture, you can create it. And it's never been like that before. Never.
What does getting rid of the mirror have to do with that? Or is that just another...
There's so many advantages, and there are some disadvantages, right? One of the big disadvantages is the fact that you're not actually using your own eye to see the scene.
Right.
And because our eye has essentially unlimited dynamic range,
right,
you could just see so much and you can react a lot quicker. Right.
Like it's the equivalent of like in a lot of these cars with new digital rear view mirrors.
Right.
It's the same kind of thing. Like looking through a regular glass mirror versus looking at a camera through a camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a couple things, right? So like this camera can shoot 30 frames per second and it doesn't skip a beat. Every single one is in focus. Every single one is usable. And before we were just limited to the physical limitation of the camera. Exactly. Of how fast the mirror can go up and down and how fast the physical leaf of the shutter can go up and down, right? So
I'm telling Zach to put the camera on you instead of me.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
You're more interesting than me.
So
He was all listening to you, and I'm like, hey, touch the button.
So the
So are you actually 30 frame? Are you actually shooting video but with photos, or is it not the same thing?
No, not exactly, right? So if you're shooting video, a lot of people ask me like, wait, 30 frames per second, and these cameras are grading so fast. Why don't you just shoot video and take a frame out of it?
Well, it's not really the same, right?
No, it's not the same because video traditionally is shot at double the frame rate, right, for shutter speed, right? So if you're shooting 24 frames per second on a DSLR, you essentially would shoot at 50th of a second, right? So to get a sharp image, it's different. The way video plays and the way you see a still image, it's completely different. If you look at a lot of the images, for example, like the ones that I shot of your Lamborghini, because I'm not that steady, I have to shoot these photos at a higher shutter speed, like 1,500, 2,000, whatever. Let's say for the shot that you were pulling into that parking area, I was probably shooting higher because I realized, hey, I want this to be frozen in time. I don't want any motion blur. But guess what? When I was panning you going through that corner, I was shooting even slower. I was shooting 20th of a second or 25th.
You want them background motion blur.
Exactly. But with video, you're locked in.
Right.
You're locked in only at 50th. Or if you wanted a different shutter angle and you wanted that choppy look like in that movie 300, you go even higher. You go 100th of a second or more. Or if you're shooting slow-mo, you potentially want even more. But it's completely different, the look. It just the nice thing about using a still camera is you can just shape it to how you want it to look.
Right.
You can.
How does this thing does it shoot really good video too?
It shoots amazing video. It's really groundbreaking on the video front because it shoots 4K 120, and you can shoot RAW with it. We typically, because most of the stuff we shoot is for YouTube, we don't really mess with the RAW portion of it, especially because we need to publish so fast. But we really
do a whole day of just fucking converting and stuff.
We love shooting 4K 120, especially because of how good the autofocus is. Traditionally, when you're shooting with these cameras, like Red cameras or with a lot of the Sony cameras, unfortunately, the autofocus is not there. The quality is great, is unbelievable actually, with most new digital cameras that shoot video, but the autofocus is just lacking. And that's where Canon really has a leg up. And look, I am a Canon ambassador, but I've used Canon all my life, professional life. And there wasn't really anything keeping me with the brand. I was just there because the glass is good and the technology is good.
Can you still use like L glass and stuff with these new cameras, or do you have to buy new lens kits?
So every single photo, so this is kind of like a bombshell that I've mentioned before, but I haven't really dropped on a big medium like this. If you look at all of the R3 photos for the launch on the Canon website, everything I've published so far, that was all shot in JPEG, not RAW. And the reason why is because they gave me these cameras before the RAW codec even existed, like 6 months before they even had a way to crack open the RAW files. So, and on top of that, none of the lenses I used for the launch photos, and even a couple months after that, were RF glass, which is the new series of lenses. Every single one of the photos that I've published so far with the R3 for the launch and a couple months afterwards were with my old EF lenses with adapters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it works just as good. Of course, now that I've invested in RF glass, you can tell the difference. Yeah. Right? So we got a couple pieces of glass
Is it the speed or is it the glass itself?
It's more about the quality. So I've had, for example, the EF 50 millimeter f1.2 and the EF 85 millimeter 1.2, right? Those are like the Canon fast glass, shoot at pitch dark.
Yeah.
That's what you would use. But the problem is when you shoot at 1.2, it's never sharp.
Right.
It's super soft. But with the RF glass, it's so much sharper, and part of it is because there's no variation anymore in terms of what the lens thinks is sharp or in focus. Like traditionally with the EF and DSLR lenses, this is really getting nerdy, by the way, in the camera sphere.
That's all right.
If it's getting too nerdy, just let me know.
It's okay.
Traditionally, using DSLR and EF or mirrored lenses, and this is across the board, when you focus on something, potentially it's not exactly in focus. It's focusing on what it thinks it's in focus. And you can micro adjust forward and backwards. There's those charts. I don't know if you've ever seen those charts. Where it's like a focus chart. And you can tell it, oh man, this lens on every body that it goes on should be +3 or -3 or +5 or whatever.
Okay.
I've had lenses, EF lenses, that are like all the way off to the complete other.
Do they just need servicing, or they
potentially, or it could be a manufacturing defect, or it could be something so dumb as weather, right? So like the reason why those big giant lenses, the Canon ones, are white is because of heat. And
they reflect heat.
Yes,
Yeah,
once these lenses get hot, it gets to the point where when you're shooting in cold and when you're shooting in hot,
they focus differently.
It focuses differently.
And does it actually change the focal length? Oh, that's interesting.
It changes the actual part or area where it's supposed to achieve perfect focus.
Right.
So that's why they make them white.
That's interesting.
But with
now,
RF,
if a GoPro could fucking learn this lesson. Do your GoPros just get hot and just shut down? They just we have to be careful with those. Is there? Do you have a better solution for that yet?
Maybe just do shorter clips. I don't know.
we don't have that.
The lens have way more moving parts. It's like the metal is literally expanding or contracting. The glass is expanding and contracting.
Yeah.
So that's
the GoPro is just cooking itself.
I think that's a processing thing where like, it just gets too hot.
Yeah.
So that's why if you look at some of the EF glass, like 7200 or 400 or 300, you can actually focus past infinity. And that's why it's built in for that.
Oh,
The crazy thing about the RF glass is it's actually looking at the actual image and focusing perfectly off of that.
Okay.
So there's no adjustment anymore, you know? So in between shots, when a car...
And so it doesn't, even if it gets hot or even if it gets cold, it can just sort that out on its own.
Automatically compensate for that.
Are you using manual focus really at all anymore on this stuff? Or is it just, is the autofocus so good that manual focus is just kind of not even a thing anymore?
So I used to use manual focus quite a bit with EF, especially because you look at these cameras, you look at something like the 1DX Mark III, which, by the way, I know the listeners, when they look at these cameras, or they even think about the cameras that are going out, the Mark III, it's aspirational, you know. It's for professionals.
Yeah, even these are expensive.
Yeah, they're really
these bodies
expensive.
are as expensive as a cheap car.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're
They're
this
expensive
new camera
cameras.
you're talking about is $6,000 for the body.
But with that said, there's a trickle down effect with all of these things, right? So now the R6 and the R5 has an updated firmware where you can actually track cars with. So it trickles down. But anyways, back to what we were saying about the cameras.
Oh, I mean, I was asking about the compatibility with the lenses and stuff. But I think we've sorted that.
Yeah, but anyways, with that said, it is groundbreaking, and it's a new way. Oh, you were asking about manual focus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so even you look at the 1DX Mark III, which is their last ever DSLR, it touts whatever 151 autofocus points, right? It sounds like a lot, but it's not,
right?
Because they're all in the middle, like right in the middle. You can't focus on the edge to the right of the frame, to the left of the frame, to the bottom of the frame. You cannot position the car or the subject or the person where
on the
you
edge
want
of the
it.
frame.
You cannot because it's just a physical limitation of what
and
that
so
device
with this
is.
new one, is it literally
Edge
as
to
many
edge.
pixels as
Edge
it's
to edge.
got in infinite area of autofocus?
Essentially infinite.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's fucking
I mean,
wild.
it's maybe 98%.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy how you can focus to the edge. Now I actually have to watch my framing because I like to have like a natural ground where the cars are or where the people are, or I like to kind of really use that to my advantage, right? To have the car all the way far right and all the way to the bottom. And it's very dramatic. But I have to be careful because especially when you're printing things out, you don't want to cut it off, you know, because there's always like a natural bleed area.
Yeah.
So now it is cheating. It is an unfair advantage. Anybody that has this camera has an unfair advantage over others. Really, it's insane. Never before have I been so excited about camera technology.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How nice that you actually don't have to pay cash for them.
Do you think that by making it easier for everybody, will that increase the number of people trying, or that are automotive or other photographers, and their photos get more competitive with people like you who've been doing it for a long time that have like the manual skills? It's kind of like PDK plus traction control plus stability control versus someone racing 25 years ago.
I welcome it. I want more people to get into car photography. This is one of the really good points, or one of the really good, reasons why car culture is so big, because the media aspect of it is so strong, and people can enjoy these vehicles this way, which is you go to these car shows, you bring your nice camera, you set up a tripod, or even if you're doing video, you want to do this for yourself. Yeah. Potentially not for anyone else. I mean, how many photos do you take on your own phone when you go to these things?
Not as many as I used to. And then I went and bought an old Pentax K1000 like I used to use in middle school, 35 millimeter. And for about a month, I was like, die hard again, film. And honestly, it's probably been 6-8 months. It's been sitting on a shelf and I haven't taken it. And I wish I was disappointed with the quality of the photos. Even on Fuji Velvia 50, they still looked grainy. And I was like, oh, should I buy a medium format camera? Like, is that gonna do it? Yeah, I just I'm a bad example, but every time I go to something, there's plenty of people that are out there taking pictures. I'm not the right example, I think, anymore.
Yeah, but you still, to this day, if you see something cool, you still want to take your own picture.
Sure. Well, I'm also of the philosophy that the best camera is the one you have on you.
Yeah.
And so I try to make good use of that. And when I travel, I do bring my point and shoot, which I was going to ask you if Canon has a really good new point and shoot I should buy, because the portability of it cannot be argued, and mine is like 3 years old.
I use M6 Mark II, which is a smaller mirrorless camera. So we use that for all of our vlogging.
Show me what that is, Zach. Is that something I can... M6...
So it's not exactly a point and shoot, but it is essentially the smallest thing you can have that still has interchangeable lenses.
Right.
Yeah. And that's very useful for us when we're vlogging, because they have like a pretty good 11 mil. That's actually really small. It's small enough where it can fit in my pocket.
It's an 11 mil, that's not too fisheye?
It's not. It's actually it's perfectly straight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At 11 millimeter?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, 11, that's a 1/6 sensor.
Oh, okay.
So it comes out
really
to like 17.
17, 20. Yeah, okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
$849. Okay, that's like a reasonable. That's not too bad.
Yeah, so we have two.
Look into one of those.
We have two of those. It shoots 4K for vlogging, and
How
the
many
stills are really
total
nice.
cameras do you have?
I was
how many
thinking
cameras in
about that.
total?
So yesterday we actually got one more shipment of the R3s. I got 3 more, and there's a picture. Actually, I think you could probably pull it up, where I lay down and we try to put every single piece of gear except for the gear that's actually shooting the photo. But anyways, it's a lot of gear.
It's a lot. I think I remember seeing it, and it was a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty much, yeah. But anyways, you might be scrolling for a while.
Yeah. It was. I remember seeing that picture. It was a lot.
Yeah. I don't actually know how many bodies we have off the top of my head, but it's quite a bit. And the crazy thing is,
what's your organization system like at home for all this gear?
So
like one duffel.
When I say we, it is 6 of us now. It's a team of 6, and everybody needs cameras. Everybody has a role, in this small production company. And I have my own kit, and Lewis has his own kit, and so on and so forth. So this is why we have so many bodies. You know, it's not because we just want to collect them, you know. They get used and abused, and we push them super hard. And I'm very proud to tell Canon, like, hey, I'm the first one to break your R3, or I'm the first one to break your 1DX Mark III, or we have multiple bodies with over 1 million actuations. But now that's not a thing anymore with mirrorless cameras. There's nothing actually actuating.
Yeah, there's no more mechanics.
Yeah,
right?
no more moving parts.
Yeah.
So with that said, the R3 still has a shutter for 2 reasons. One is so when you actually take the lens off, it has something to protect the sensor with. And 2, if you're shooting something that has some ultimate, like for example, if you're shooting golfing or if you're shooting, I don't know, airplanes, and the prop can't be warped at all, it has to be straight, then you can still use the mechanical shutter. Because there's always going to be some refresh rate. There's always going to be some banding, right? Or jelloing. But it's pretty much, you pretty much can't tell unless you really look for it. And that's on extreme cases. You know, I've shot NHRA drag racing 300 mile per hour with these.
Totally frozen.
Yeah, totally frozen. Everything looks good. Everything looks straight.
Yeah.
Nothing is warped. But I can see potentially if that's all you're trying to get.
Yeah.
You know,
if that's your whole job. Like, can you, does it affect like, we'll get to questions in a second, Zach. Can you still do like a tilt shift kind of thing with that?
Yes. Yeah.
And can you still do, was it, you said, golfing, drag,
like if you're shooting helicopters, then the blades
just
would
freeze.
Be bent a little bit.
Yeah.
If you shoot with the shutter, which, you know, that's why it still has it, then it's completely frozen and straight as possible.
Has there been any improvement? Is it something they value in like the audio processing of these cameras, or is anyone who really cares just using independent standalone audio? You're not shooting. There's like no interchange of someone who's shooting with a $6,000 camera body that doesn't have a Zoom recorder. You know.
Yeah, I mean the audio. So we've been doing a bunch of this chase cam stuff, and like it's kind of funny. You were very early on.
Yeah, I remember
in the chase cam.
Yeah, the
game.
remote actuated chase cams. Yeah.
A couple years back, right? It was at Grid Life at Gingerman. At that time, I was doing a little bit of driving myself, but most of the time, other people were driving for me. So then, that's why essentially I hired you, I guess, to
I was having a good time.
Yeah, in your M2 press car, we mounted a camera to the nose of it, and we shot some drifting photos. Now it's evolved, right? So now I have my own drift chase vehicle, and now it's evolved even more to the point where I can chase whatever, anything that needs to be chased at full speed or at half speed. But we do record audio from the nose of my Supra camera car.
Oh, okay.
And we do that. It's such a simple thing. We just muffle the mic with a bunch of napkins.
Yeah.
So then wind doesn't get through it.
Yeah.
And then it just gets like the vibration and the really loud engine noises. And you get some wind noise when you get up there in triple digit speeds. Yeah. But it's very clean, surprisingly, for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long people have their own interesting ways of muffling wind noise.
Yeah.
We used to use socks wrapped in gaffer tape that worked
That
pretty
works?
good. Yeah, it worked pretty good actually.
How many socks? That's like
it was one, but doubled on itself,
Right.
and then you'd wrap it in gaffer tape, and it worked pretty good.
Yeah.
Gaffer tape's a good wind blocker.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a lot of questions off the Patreon. If you want to ask questions of our guest, it's patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. Get access to the live stream. You get a potentially an ad-free listening experience, and you don't have to wait for the shows to go up. You get them right away, and et cetera, et cetera. Miguel Flores says, Larry, what smartphone has the best camera for shooting cars?
That's a good question. So I am an Android guy. I've had every single Google Pixel since the first one, and so the one I have now is the 6, and it actually has a really good motion blur mode, and it's really good. It just uses AI or programming or whatever. It just figures out how it should look, and it's close. It's really close. So it surprises me. It surprised me. I was thinking it would be a gimmick, but I actually use it, and it's actually pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Brian says, Larry, what's your favorite event to photograph? It's got to be Pikes Peak, right?
That's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really like looking for oddball car culture too. You know, I like going, I don't know, just finding those weird builds or weird clubs that, you know, cruise this street for, I don't know. I just like photographing oddball car culture things. But
Sure.
Pikes Peak is a high one.
Did you enjoy the Faroe Islands?
I did. So Faroe Islands, it was the first time I went out of country since the shutdown.
Yeah.
And it was so weird. It was just nice to be in Europe again.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoyed photographing that whole place. The series of islands is pretty. It's amazing. And so Von Gittin Jr. drifted in around the whole island, the series of islands. And then the main feature, of course, was the underground roundabout.
Yeah.
That was 600 feet below the ocean, and it connects 3 islands. And he just drifted that with a Mach-E, and
It's pretty cool.
just so stupid.
But was
the
it?
dumbest
And the video came out nice. It looked very pretty. But was it? Was hanging out there enjoyable? Was it an interesting? Like, do I want to go there?
Yeah,
do I want to check it out?
It's something I feel like for you would appreciate it. The roads are amazing. The driving roads are great. I had a manual Mazda 2 that I just floored everywhere. I did not let off the throttle on that thing because it was just so fun to, you know, the European narrow back roads.
Yeah.
And it's pristine.
Yeah.
There's no tree on the whole island except artificially planted ones in the city. It's just a weird landscape. It's something that I'm just not used to, and it just looks so cool. There's waterfalls that come out of everywhere.
It seems like the kind of place you'd go if you've already been everywhere else. You know, it's like it's like you need that new level of weird in your vacationing life.
That's the thing is I never would have thought that I would never go there myself.
Yeah.
You know, but going there on someone else's dime and being able to experience the culture and just everything about it, the scenes, the fact that there's double the amount of sheep than there are humans on the island. It's just so much of that is just a novelty, and it's super cool to experience.
Yeah, it's nice to get a gig there. Daniel Hunsiger, does Larry take any inspiration from other media such as video games?
Video games. I love gaming. I love video games. I wish I had more time to game, especially car or simulator games. It's great to, I don't know, just kind of lose myself in that. That's how everybody learned the Nürburgring, right?
Yeah.
On a video game.
Yeah. That's a great way to learn new tracks. I mean, not just the Nürburgring. If you're going to go to a new track, it's
legitimately, that's actually
Great
how
learning
I
tool.
know certain corners look the way they look.
Yeah.
You know, so it actually helps.
No, it's good for scouting for you. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Jake says, now that you've had a chance to photograph some of the biggest aftermarket companies and OEMs, what are some goals or ideas for 2022 to keep pushing yourself to get better?
To get better.
New gear. You got that new gear.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to push the new technology to whatever. I mean, that's really what it's about. You know, this thing that is car culture. It's crazy how big it is. You know, the fact that I can do all of this stuff, and we have to say no to so many projects. You know, there's just so much things to shoot, so many events to go to. I'm sure you get invited to everything, to the point where you have 3 or 4 things that you can choose from every weekend.
Yeah, I get invited to a lot of stuff, and then I tell them that it's like a gig. Like I have to, work, to go. And then it's like womp womp.
Yeah, when has it ever been like that in car culture? Never, right?
I mean, I couldn't tell you. Probably not before the internet.
Yeah.
You know, I think Instagram, as an organizing tool, has been good. I mean, the fact that we're now back. I think in 2019 there was really a lot of stuff to do locally.
Yeah,
and we're starting to get back there finally.
Yeah. The other thing that I want to do more of, and I think both of you guys will probably agree with me, just drive more and just enjoy driving more. I recently got into drifting. I know, Zach, you're drifting a lot too, or recently you did some drifting. Yeah. Have you ever done any drifting?
Not competitively, but I've done like the drift schools, and I've made a couple videos with drift cars. I'm not horrible. I'm okay. It's very, very fun, but I've not, I've not like. I'm at the point where to continue, I'd have to get a drift car.
Which we could do.
You could do that.
We could probably do, but then you need a trailer. You don't
need a trailer. I guess it depends on how deep you want to go, right?
You definitely need a fucking trailer. All right, if you don't have a trailer, you break your car, now what? Now I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Well, when you open up your new storage facility, just have a space for your trailer.
I am. I am. My new place at 100%, it's a mandatory thing, is a parking for a trailer.
So being in Southern California, it's cheating for us. It's so easy for us to have time to drift.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is you don't actually have to go to join an organization or a drift day or a competition or event. You can just go anytime to one of the mini tracks that we have open and just have the place to yourself.
Yes.
And that's a thing, and that's what I've been doing, and it's been so much fun. And part of it is that there's just really low risk for how much fun you're having.
Yeah.
You're on the edge, on top of second gear into third gear in my 350Z, and it's the most fun, and it's just so dumb.
No, I love it. It's great. It is great fun. But like, if you like this place, as amazing as it is, and I'm very proud of it and everything, I knew when I was building it, I was like, I just don't have anywhere to keep the equipment that I need for a drift car. But the new place is a different story. Trailer.
Where's the new place?
In Gardena, by the Hawthorne Airport.
All right, cool.
Yeah, not far. It's like 10 minutes from here. But a trailer and a basic tow vehicle are things that we will be able to not only use for our business here, but yeah.
Yeah. So once that place is up and running, all three of us,
there will be a drift
I would
car.
love for all three of us to go drifting. I think that'd be.
And I don't want to build a drift car. I want to fucking buy somebody's. Like I want to buy something that's 95% of the way there.
And so much of it is just, for me at least, it's just learning how to drive better. And, it's going to improve my camera car driving, and it's also going to improve my just going fast.
Yeah.
Because being able to straighten out again safely and efficiently is really important.
Yeah, definitely. Martin Bueno, what was the most memorable shoot that you guys have done? And what is the dream shoot?
Memorable shoot. I don't know. It's tough to say. There's
lot.
There's so many. You go on my website and you can see some of my favorites. And every year at the end of the year, I go through my photos and I try to whittle it down to 200.
You've got a good year-end wrap-up. I saw your year-end wrap-up last year. It was excellent.
So it's 100 photos that's not drift related, and then 100 drift related photos, because I shoot so much drifting, right?
Yeah.
So the non-drift related stuff is everything else. Left with Cult, stuff that I shoot with you.
Does the drifting stuff, shooting it, ever get kind of old? I mean, it's a bit, it's a little formulaic. The locations are a bit repetitive. The cars don't change that much.
It's exciting for me still because, I mean, it's the characters.
Yeah.
It's the you got Adam LZ, right? Hoonigan Jr., like all these big names. Yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, TJ Hunt is getting into it pretty heavily. All of these big names in the car culture world now are getting into drifting, and they're making it like a normal thing. And I think that's amazing. I think it's super cool, and there's just always stuff to capture, especially at Grid Life.
Yeah, Grid Life's good.
Grid Life is just so much fun because these people are going out there, getting sideways, putting on a show with no pressure. They're doing it just to do it. They're not competing against anybody, and that's why it's fun. I think it's super cool.
Let's go to Wyatt B. What should someone starting out in car photography or videography look for in their first camera setup?
I think that just comes down to what your budget is. If you have $500, get something used. Get something that you can learn on. Rebel XT or I don't even know what, T3 or T4i or whatever.
We bought like used Mark II bodies for a really long time.
Yeah, so you could, used camera gear is it's like it's something that more people need to take advantage of. I still have my first ever L glass that I ever bought, which is a 17-40 lens. We still use it to this day because glass doesn't go bad unless you treat it, unless you leave it out in the rain or whatever, then it gets moldy. But if you treat it well, clean it, maintain it,
service it,
it lasts forever. Glass lens is always going to lens,
Yeah.
The light's always going to go through it.
Yeah.
Am I right? I mean, it never stops. Even when it's sitting in your bag, it's still lensing.
Yeah.
So you just have to think of it that
Always
way.
be lensing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good shirt. I would also advise, like, if you think about, bodies get kind of upgraded every year, every couple of years, but the shelf life of a lens range is much longer.
Yes.
And so, you kind of should pick a brand, where, okay, try a few things, and then if it with Canon or Nikon or Sony or whatever, pick a brand, get a lens package, and then you can upgrade your body 3 times as often in the future as you upgrade your lenses.
Yeah.
That helps too.
Yeah. So it's so much of it just, like I said, depends on your budget. If you have
Yeah.
$1,000, that's even better. Or more. Whoever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Amir K, favorite setting to shoot cars?
I would definitely say like street. Night, downtown, huge buildings, alleyways, underpasses, like all of that. Urban. I think that's my favorite because it's so challenging, and it's just fun to explore and just find new places. That's one of my favorite things to do when I go to a new city is just go out at night with a car and just shoot, just photograph.
Cool. What's the with these new R3s? Can you get to like 1 million ISO? Is it a crazy high number now?
So the ISO, it's pretty similar to the 1DX Mark III. We're getting to the point where we're at a physical limitation of the sensor, right? So the problem is the more megapixels you have, it means the smaller the actual pixels are. The actual sensor, it's just too dense, right? So that's kind of part of the reason why we're not shooting with these cameras that have 100 megapixels or more. Right. So they're still hovering around a certain number. The R3 is 24. And I honestly think it's more than you need. The Mark III is 2021, but it's great
Well, if
because
you want something enormous, you stitch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I do that, and also I have an R5, which is 45 megapixels. That's what we actually shoot all the commercial stuff on.
Is that a medium format, or is it it's the same size sensor?
Yeah, it's this 35 millimeter sensor, but the problem is you just can't bump the ISO that much because you're running into a physical limitation.
Right.
With that said, it's still amazing. I'm shooting at 10,000, 15,000 ISO, which was unheard of before.
Yeah, when we first got the Sony A7S, it was like I can go to 500,000 ISO, and you could literally point it up at the night sky and get like Milky Way. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's cheating.
Yeah. Casper, do you encounter problems with wheels not being round in action photography? Is there a tip for managing this phenomena?
I think this is something, actually, I'm surprised somebody actually asked me about this recently. It's just something that is natural to the human eye. When you look at a car, most of the time when you're looking at the car, the wheels aren't round. It's oval. If you're at the front of a car, the wheels are oval.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe he's overthinking it. It's very rare when the
It's
wheels
funny,
are round.
when I've posted some wide photos of my car and people go, oh, did you get in a crash? Because
Yes.
the iPhone like stretches it funny.
I think you had a cruise show and I was listening and you were talking about that. Yeah.
Well, that leads us to Hunter Sands' question down there, and we'll come back to this E46 one later. Hunter Sands wants to know easy ways to make car photos look good on an iPhone, and I can just tell you they don't. Like, it's just not good, though. It's just a wide angle lens that makes the proportions of the car super, super wonky. Like, we shot the Gunther Works Speedster, and I forgot my point and shoot, which is normally what I shoot. I stand 50, 80 feet back, and my point and shoot actually has a proper what do you call it? Lens, a
Mechanical
proper zoom lens. It's not a digital zoom, right? And the proportions look good. And then I had to take the picture on my iPhone, and people just were like, it looks droopy, it looks wonky, it looks weird as hell.
That car specifically, I've taken phone photos of that car, and it looks so wonky. You're right, because the proportions of that car are so wild.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to flatten it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like somebody taking a picture of my nose 2 inches away.
Yeah.
Of course it's going to look
weird.
huge as fuck, you know?
So when you step back and shoot it on 200 millimeters, it looks gorgeous.
You have to flatten that car specifically, especially because the convertible aspect of it has even less to show for in terms of like a whole body. You know?
Yeah. It looks so bottom heavy on an iPhone.
With that said, there are certain photos you can take of that particular vehicle on an iPhone or any phone that will still look good. But most of the time, it's cutting parts of the car up, right?
Yeah.
So if you just do the headlight top down, it looks super cool. You know, it has that whatever 993 shape, right?
Yeah.
And the body lines are really cool. Or you can do parts of the interior. Or you can just do part of the wheel from the side, or shoot how enormous the brakes are. There's certain things
Tights.
Yeah, exactly. Tights. You can break the car up, and it'll look just as good.
So is there anything? I haven't found any. My answer to this person's question is don't use an iPhone for that kind of stuff, because it just doesn't look that good no matter what you do.
There's certain things you can do. You can make the subject a lot smaller in frame. Mm-hmm. And then it could be more of like a scenic landscape shot, right? And you make sure that the car is not so to the edge. Then it doesn't stretch it out, right? And another cheater way to get a nice photo of it is get really high. If you're at a parking garage and you get on one...
Smoke that good shit, right?
Exactly. if you get one level up and you do a top-down shot, then it doesn't distort it as much, you know? So... That's one way to cheat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dante Casali wants to know, Larry, if you could design your own floppy hat for work, what would it be?
I think that's pretty much.
He's got a good floppy hat.
Yeah, I have a pretty good floppy hat.
You got a good floppy hat.
The story about
that. But a Larry
that,
Chen floppy hat, a line of floppy hats would be good.
Cards.
Yeah, so I actually initially got that floppy hat from Bonneville. You know, that's where you get sunburnt the
Land
most.
of the sun.
Right, land of the sun. Yeah, it's two suns, right? One sun on the ground and one sun above you.
Yeah.
That's actually where I got my floppy hat for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like a good floppy hat. I'm a very big fan. Mm-hmm. Australians, they know their floppy hats. You get a kangaroo leather one, that's the jam right there. That's a lifetime. Atticus Soliera, given that Larry recently featured Brandon Z31 from SEMA. That was a cool looking car.
Again, the Nissans.
Yeah, right?
Should I just feature old 90s Nissans?
Look,
I guess so.
If we switched to just crapping on cars in our headlines, we'd probably double our traffic.
Yeah.
But you can't do that. You can't live like that, Larry.
Yeah.
Atticus wants to know if you think the more iconic Z cars are increasingly overvalued. And then has some detail, but I think this question is posed in a very negative way. I think you should be saying, are the Z31s undervalued, not are the 240Zs overvalued? I mean, the nicest, cleanest, best maintained, best history, most perfect example of an iconic sports car is of course going to bring a ton of money. That's how sports cars work. It doesn't matter if it's a Z or a Grand National or a Ferrari or whatever.
It's just the latest one, right?
Yeah.
I guess, or not even the latest, but more recently it's been crazier and crazier. I think one even just broke a record just recently, just like last week.
Oh, was there a recent one? Another recent one?
Yeah, so it's just part of it. Oh, yeah, it was a silver one, I think.
That blue one that was like last year maybe. That was like... It was just very plain looking. I mean, it was super original, super low miles, ultimate museum piece. Yeah. Put it in a museum and stick it away. And it was very expensive. But how many of those do you come across? When the cars are used as cars.
Yeah. And those are really used as cars because you still see them getting driven around. They look beat or whatever, but they were like reliable enough and cheap enough.
It's just the most recent hot thing, I guess. People who grew up with them or liked them can finally afford them, and they're just getting more expensive. I've had a chance to drive 2 of the 240Zs that Nissan restored in the 90s. Do you remember that program?
Yeah. When all of a sudden people were like, hang on a minute, these 240s could be worth money. And they sort of put them in the commercials and stuff.
Could you imagine a brand new 240Z going for $25,000 right now? That's what it was.
Yeah.
They bought 23 back from owners, restored them to factory spec as brand new cars with a warranty for $25,000, and they couldn't sell them. They couldn't sell them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
They could not sell them, and I've driven 2.
Were they nice?
Amazing.
Really?
Like brand new cars.
I've driven a couple 240s, and some of them were nicer than others. I've never driven one that really was probably how it should have been.
So if you have a chance to go to the Nissan headquarters, they have their press car still.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
Sick.
from 1997 when they were doing this program, and that's the one that they let me drive on the street. And I actually drove a private one too. And I don't even know
where is that?
Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nashville.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Nashville?
Yeah. Well, outside of Nashville.
Oh, that could be a good little.
Yeah.
That's a good. Got good roads out there.
Yeah.
Nice drive.
But it's just so crazy to me how expensive it's beyond what the metal is.
Yeah.
And we experienced that a lot. Like we went to that Velocity media day, and we both got a ride in a 250 GTO, which. My joke was I couldn't afford one bolt on that car.
Neither could I. But after having a go or a ride anyway, I kind of was like, oh yeah, I get why people who don't give a fuck about money spend so much of it on this thing.
But it's a car.
Yeah.
It smelled like oil.
Yeah.
He
He broke the gearbox.
Yeah, Jeff, who was driving it, like drifted the shit out of it around Thunder Hill. It's crazy. It's beyond what the metal is there.
Well, that's why you can never total one, right? Because even if you crash it, it's worth $50 million at auction to buy it. But even if you crash it, it's probably only $300,000 or $400,000 to fix it. So you can never really. I say only, but relatively speaking, you know what I mean?
It's just crazy. I mean, and who knows how much that's worth now? Everybody throughout that day when we were shooting that, when we were filming. It kept going up. The number kept going up. Somebody started with 50 in the morning, and by the end of the day, it was at 90 or 90 million. And I'm like, how many more million do you want to add to this thing?
That's why that's a car for people that don't even count anymore.
So you didn't actually have a chance to go to the actual Velocity event.
No, I forget where I was, but I was somewhere not in California for that.
I took one picture of just 10 cars, I think, on the front straight. And it added up to $250 million.
Yeah.
And then when you add up the value of all the cars, it's well over. I think it was over $2 billion.
At the thing.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I mean, but how do you even value some of these cars that are priceless, like the Sterling Moss, Mercedes?
Well, yeah. Once
SLR.
it's historically significant, it goes beyond. Yeah, that's
that's the picture.
Car, yeah. That Speedtail sold at auction for 3.3, I think. That blue Speedtail.
And that's the cheapest. Well, I don't know. No, the Mini's the
Mini
cheapest
is
car.
by far the cheapest one there. That Mini's probably not worth $60,000.
You drove the Parnelli Jones.
I did drive the Parnelli Jones Mustang. 0 people watched the video. Nobody gave a fuck. But I had a great time, and it was very, very cool experience to drive that car. It was really, really intense.
That's another thing.
I can't imagine the upper arm strength it would require to drive that in an endurance race. Oof. I drove it for 20 minutes. I was drenched. Drenched in sweat. It was amazing.
You look like you were having a lot of fun.
I was having a lot of fun. And it was to have a V8 that only makes power from 5,000 to 8,200. And like this thing bogged like crazy at 4,800 RPM. And then at 5, it was like, holy fucking balls. Yeah, it was crazy.
And the crazy thing is the races that they had there was against the Mini Coopers.
Yeah, Mustangs versus Minis.
They were so well matched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They went about the same lap times in very, very different ways.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is you look at that picture and you think, wow, $250 million. Well, most of the value is the front two cars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the 917.
Yeah, and the 917.
There's not a lot of cars out there worth more than a GTO, but that Sterling Moss car could be the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's only one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's 32 GTOs, so it's 32 times more valuable. I think we have one or two more questions from the Patreon. No, it's okay. No, look, we can sidetrack all the time. Justin says, I think we'll skip that one at top, Zach. Justin says, this is a good one, actually. I've been shooting events as a hobby for a few years, but as I grow, I'm concerned about the legality of my images. Is it a common practice to get a signed release from vehicle owners and event participants in the automotive world?
I've never, ever asked for a release, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why people are taking their cars to a car show, you know, or entering an event. They don't want people to not take pictures of their car. You know, they want to peacock. They want to show off. They want to be a part of this culture.
Well, and if someone is out in public, it's not like you're posting up on their driveway and shooting them getting out of their car inside their garage. If they're out in public, there's no expectation of privacy. There's no rights. You retain no rights to a picture of your car or to your person if you're out in public.
Yeah, and if anything, one of my suggestions, if you're shooting somebody's car, it could be a race car, it could be a street car, it could be something, on the street or at a show, just talk to them. You know, they'll give you even more access. Yeah. You want to see the engine bay? Cool. You want to see the interior? You want to go for a ride? You know, like it's not as hard as people think, to get these access to these cars.
Sure.
Like, I do all these classes with Canon. I haven't done them since the shutdown, unfortunately. But the point of these classes is not to teach people how to take pictures. The point of it is to give you the access that you potentially wouldn't get. And then you can practice your craft on some of the best cars in the world.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part. I did the hard part for you. The easy part is now you have to figure out your settings, and I can help you with that too.
Yeah. Those where can people sign up for those?
So I haven't done them, unfortunately. Just because Canon as a company, they're pretty conservative. So we probably won't do in-person learning and classes for a while. I've done a couple private classes, invite only, at Leno's place.
Can you do like a master class kind of thing? You do one of those deals?
I like that, but I do have to say there is one class that I'm planning all this year, and I held them all last year. It's at Formula Drift. And you've shot in the pits, or you've shot in the hot areas at Formula Drift, alongside me actually.
Yeah.
And now you can actually pay extra to shoot with me for an hour.
Oh, that's cool.
In right next to cars.
Oh, that's cool.
2-3 feet away from these cars as they're scraping the walls. So every single round, all 8 rounds of Formula Drift, you can sign up for that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
All of last year, pretty much every single one was sold out. Months in advance.
Where do people sign up for something like that?
FormulaDrift.com.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you don't even have to bring a camera. You bring your cell phone or a GoPro or whatever. Just enjoy yourself. But some people brought the big guns. Some people actually brought good equipment, and for them, they just wanted it for themselves.
Yeah.
No commercial reason or anything like that. It's just the best view of the action. Period. Yeah.
Prashant, if you had to pick one focal length for a year, what would it be?
I think 35 millimeter. I think is good. It's just wide
1 to
enough.
1.
Yeah, just wide enough.
Let's keep Ryan's question into the thing next year. Matt Chesel, or into the next cruise show.
You go ahead.
What?
I answered Matt's question too. Just
okay.
Go to Malibu.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And that's it.
That it? That's it. That's our show. Thanks, Larry.
Yeah, thank you
for
so
this
much
print,
for having me. Yeah.
And for the pen and for these Hot Wheels. You give us 2 of these Hot Wheels.
Yeah, one for each of you.
We should maybe have one for the studio and give one away to a fan.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good idea. I don't want to hoard. We should give one away to a fan.
We got one there now. We give that one away.
But I'm not fucking letting that pin go. Where'd it go? Where'd the pin go?
right
It's
here.
behind the wall. Okay, cool. This is going on my backpack. When I told my wife how much these pins were going for, she was like, "You walk around the airport with those fucking things in your bag?"
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I do. Fuck it. If you
It's
want to
hilarious.
come at me, bro,
Yeah.
take these fucking pins off my bag. I'll fucking clock you in the head with it.
So I'm
Ever
actually
take a Toomey bag to the face.
So with this series, I'm actually giving these away.
Good for you.
Anyone who buys a print off of LarryChenPrints.com
Oh yeah,
or my Etsy store, it's the same thing.
I forgot to plug that.
Yeah, no worries.
That's
no
the
worries.
shit.
No
Are you
worries.
at Larry's? I mean, last time you were here, you were selling prints remarkably affordably on your website.
Well, last time I was here, you shouted me out, and we sold 100 prints that
made
day.
some money.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I appreciate it so much. You know?
I mean,
and-
these prints are fucking sick, dude.
Well, yeah,
I
so
have,
that's
I have
my
Larry Chen shit all over my office. Like, you
That's-
should have it too.
that's the website. Well, actually, so
Oh, that
I have two
sleeping
websites.
on the ACR wing is awesome.
Yeah, that's
That's Alana
Alana.
Shear.
Yeah.
Is that Alana Shear?
Yeah.
Oh, that rules. I
So-
want one of that. I want Alana sleeping on a
Alana.
Viper
so,
wing.
So this is my website where anybody can go to download free 4K wallpapers or pictures just for themselves. That's LarryChenPhoto.com. But if you want prints, you go to LarryChenPrints.com. Yeah. And that's essentially just goes straight to the Etsy store.
And can we get it in any size? We get big stuff like this.
So all of they're different sizes. Yeah, I put Matt Farah's
Dude,
Lamborghini Countach.
24 by 36 for $125. That's a value. That's an unbelievable value.
So,
to get
and then
original signed artwork.
That one, the $250 one, is my most popular one. It's a 2 by 6, 2 feet by 6
Oh,
feet.
the Climb Kana one? Yeah.
that's like the size
That's rad.
of
That's
the one that I
super
gave
sick.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
These are budget extra for a frame. That's frame worthy. That's a really good one. I like. That's your most popular one.
that's my most popular one, surprisingly.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
But you
And,
got a bunch of stuff. A bunch of pictures of my Countach in the charred out
course.
Malibu Hills. Bunch of drift stuff. F40s, some exotics, some Ken Block stuff. Oh, there's the GTO.
yeah. So everybody who gets a print, until I run out of these pins, will get a free pin in their order.
Ooh.
And
That's like a net free.
yeah, I mean,
You should not flip your pin.
yeah,
Frame-
because
frame
these,
not included.
These pins, who knows how much they'll worth? Because
These are
I'm only
fucking-
giving them out.
They're cool.
I'm not selling them.
Yeah.
You know, and so
The
hopefully
pins are really cool, and this one is your Supra with twin DSLRs mounted on the hood.
twin
it's really,
DSLRs,
really neat.
And that's me chasing Adam LZ at Grid Life.
It's a
from
very,
last year.
very, very good pin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Larry Chen, forget Larry Chen Photo. Go to LarryChenPrints.com
Yeah.
and get yourself a print. It's very, very cool. This collage is going in my house. That's a home print for sure.
That's such an honor. I can't
That's a
tell
fucking
you.
good one. Yeah, that's excellent. I
you.
love it. Thanks for joining us,
Yeah,
Larry.
thank you
Really
so much.
appreciate
Yeah.
it. Always a great show. I love learning about the new camera gear that's coming out.
Just so nerdy.
It is nerdy, but like I majored in photography, so I'm down with your nerd.
there you
I'm
go.
down with your nerdy shit, and other people are too. I love that shot. Is that shot available for print?
No.
Because that was for them. That was
Yeah,
a
I
contract
mean,
gig.
I don't know. It's hard to gauge what people will like, you know?
Nissans.
Yeah, exactly. 90s Nissans.
All
So I got, and a lot of your car. People love your car.
Oh, they do.
You know?
Well, it's,
Yeah.
Countach is the poster car.
Yeah,
so
of
why
course,
would you
exactly.
not want one?
Yeah,
I have the real thing, and I still have like 3 posters of it around the shop.
I love
You
it.
see the Zwart one in my office
Yes,
too?
that's the one. That's the most famous one.
It's from that 1987.
Yeah.
He found it in his shed. It's new old stock.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Fucking Zwart.
Yeah.
He's coaching Johnny for Pikes Peak this year. Johnny got a seat in Pikes Peak this year.
GT4.
Wait,
right?
Yeah.
Have you been to Pikes Peak?
No, I want
We
to.
got to
I
go.
want to go
It's the 100th.
spectate.
It's
Wait.
the 100th this year.
Oh, it
gotta
is.
go.
When
You
is it?
It's the-
What time?
Hey, if
it's
you
in
go-
August.
July, August?
June usually.
It's in June. Let's
okay,
go.
if you go,
Yeah, let's go.
I'll hang out
Will
with
you get me? Oh,
I'll
thanks.
be. No,
Really?
but
Will ya?
no. In that. No. Oh my god. If you go, it
Will you
will
show
be
me the
a lot of
spots?
fun. Yes.
We
I'll
can
show you the
record a
spots.
show on the side of the
Remember
mountain.
so many
The
people.
last show, you
should
were
go.
saying that I would be shooting and you'd be cooking sausages.
Oh,
at
I'll
the
cook
corner.
sausages. We got to get the the tables, the altitude tables to adjust the fire
Yeah.
for cooking sausages.
So
I will cook. Will
end
they
of
allow you
June.
to cook sausages on the side of the mountain?
Yeah.
End of
A
June.
lot of people are doing it.
I will cook sausages for
There's
your,
no
for
restaurant
you.
up there, so yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, let's
Yeah.
fucking bring meats and just cook it on Pikes Peak. All right, we'll go.
Yeah, I think
Why
it'll
not?
be fun. It's very. It's going to be really special because how many events, how many races happen 100 times? That's an annual thing.
2? Like the Indy 500, I think, just might have done it.
That's it.
Didn't they?
That's
Is
the
there
first
another
one.
one?
That's the first one.
That's the first one,
Yeah,
right?
the second oldest race is
Pikes Peak?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So then we have to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you in June. We'll see you before June.
Perfect. Fun.
That'll be fun. All right, folks. We're back for the live people. We're back tomorrow with the Throttle House. Thomas and James are in studio. It's a big week for podcasting because Zach and I are going out of town. You know where we're going next week? The Bridgestone Ice Driving School in Colorado.
Slow drifting, but it's so fun.
Yeah. Sideways at 20.
That is fun.
It will be cool.
That is.
I've wanted to do it for years. I mean, it's one of those things that like I've just always wanted to do. It seems great fun.
Yeah.
So
I think Tanner was an instructor there like
he was
15 years ago when he was 12 or something.
Yeah, and someone who mentored our friend Sarah Trimble was there too, and she's the fucking baddest motherfucker up there. She said she like sends it reverse entry and all the
Rad.
That's
That's
sweet.
amazing.
Yeah, so we'll be there next week. So Throttle House tomorrow. That's our show, and see you guys later. Bye.